Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
I follow a fan blog or account on Tumblr for happy endings.
Yeah.
And they just tweeted, and they're like, I feel like I need to make this clear. This is not a porn account. Happy Endings was a TV show, and this is a fan account. And it's like, it's called Happy Endings, and then the picture of them is that picture of all of them naked in bed together.
Sure, yeah.
So...
I can see the confusion. I get it.
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show.
Waiting for you to say welcome again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen. I hate you.
So I'm Watching This Show. Okay, everybody.
Nope, twice was enough.
Will. And this is So I'm Watching This Show.
I should have known you were going to do something like that. I'm such a sucker. I just believe you're going to be normal every time we sit down, and you're not.
You always complain, too. In what reality do you wish I was normal? Like, in what reality
you're right.
Would this be an NPR? Like,
you're just like Ira Glass.
On today's episode, we are going to discuss teen slasher film. No, we're going to talk about Happy Death Day and the second one. I think we haven't watched it yet, but we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yes, I think both.
Mm-hmm. It's a 2017 American black comedy slasher film. Jesus, do they get paid by the adjective on Wikipedia?
Also, I don't know that
It is
black
comedy. Yeah, it was a dark. There were.
It's dark. I wouldn't say it's a black comedy. That implies like very, very dark. This is not that dark. It's more comedy than it is anything else.
Mm-hmm. But that's actually very true, because going in, I knew it was rated PG-13, and part of me was like, I really wish this was rated R. And that's faulty logic on my part, and I know I don't stick to it. It's more of like a knee-jerk reaction, but
yeah.
I'm 34 now. I don't want to be censored. You know what I mean? It's like, I can handle, give me what you got. And I also, a lot of times I want for things to feel authentic. And there's something about watching a college movie where I'm like, they can't swear. Like, are you kidding? We've been swearing since we were 12, And at no point in this movie did I ever feel like I was watching something that was censored or edited.
Yeah, no, not at all.
In a way that was really interesting. So, yeah, it was directed by Christopher Landon and written by Scott Lobdell, Lobdell.
Yeah, something
One
like
of those
that.
needs to go. Listen, Scott, your name either needs to be Lobel or Lodell.
Yeah,
Lobdell.
The B or the D. We got to get rid of the B or the D.
But yeah, it stars Jessica Roth in a star-making performance.
100%.
Israel Broussard and Ruby Modine.
Who got all of her father's height and none of his looks. She is her mom, except for how tall she is.
Oh. I don't know who Matthew Modine is, other than I know his name.
He's from Stranger Things.
Oh, that guy.
He's
okay,
Papa.
Yeah.
I was like,
She
you
doesn't
absolutely
look anything
know.
like him.
No, nothing. She looks like her mom. I looked up pictures of them both.
Yeah, it came out in 2017, and I think it was a modest hit.
I don't really know, but I think
it was
you're
a
right.
big hit. Huge hit, actually. This thing cost less than $5 million. Wow. It looks great.
It does look really good.
$4.8 million. It looks fantastic.
This has a gross 55 in the US and 125 worldwide. Yeah, that was a huge hit. You're right.
It was a big hit. And I remember being interested in it. It is funny, though, because I remember the commercials looking a tad on the obnoxious side. Mm-hmm. And as I recall, it came out in... Nope, it was October. I was going to say I thought it came out in the beginning of the year. But
no, it was like a Halloween movie.
Yeah, there was something about the PG-13 and the like slightly obnoxious nature of it that just looked I let that be like, nope, I'm not interested. Like, and it's funny because it's like I'm considering it, or I'm calling it obnoxious even though I liked it, because I realized that like bye thing is from this.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's not obnoxious, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my first talking point, is how awful and obnoxious these people were, Tree included, especially in the beginning, but that it managed to still be funny. Yeah. I think that's tricky. I think that's very tricky to pull off, because Danielle was my favorite.
Oh my God, really?
Yes. She was hysterical. Are you kidding?
I mean, she's funny. Favorite is a weird way to say it.
Well, I mean, I guess, okay, if we're going favorite, it's like Tree is. But
yeah, of course.
Danielle was just hysterical. And she's kind of like, and I don't mean to like desecrate the good name of Cordelia Chase, but she was very much in that vein.
Cordelia has more of a heart.
Well, sure. I mean, we were with this woman for an hour and 20 minutes, you know what I mean? But it was just sort of like, I feel like she doesn't have a filter. She's one of those people where it's just like, if she thinks something, it comes out.
Right, exactly.
And I think it was interesting having a female lead, because that didn't have to be. And especially, you know, in a movie written and directed by men, it was a little bit not surprising, but it was nice.
Well, it's like, I mean, it goes back to the final girl thing. And that's the tropiest trope in horror. It kind of has to be a girl.
Sure.
Who wants to go watch a horror movie where a boy is the last survivor?
Well, it's not so much about, I mean, I know what you mean, but I mean, it is famously a take on Groundhog's Day, to the point where that's a joke made in the movie at the very end.
Correct.
And I also find it interesting that, like, when I was watching this, I was kind of like, how refreshing to have, like, an original idea. And it's so funny that I could feel that way watching this, knowing that it is very much a take on an existing idea.
Yeah.
But did it feel kind of fresh to you?
I mean, it's fresh in the way that they approached it, but being a huge fan of Groundhog Day, there are so many takes on Groundhog Day out there that like nothing where the day repeats is ever going to be considered fresh. But there were fresh aspects to it.
It felt that way to me, and I think maybe it's the this meets that, because there's that famous saying where it's like, bad artists copy and true artists steal.
Well, it was more like true artists steal from everyone.
Well, there's two. That's a second saying. Yeah. We're living in a reality where there is no such thing as an original idea, despite what every dude in your film class says. And it's like, so I kind of feel like, why don't we just resign ourselves to that fact? And then, like, don't fight it. And so I think we get a lot of really cool ideas out of the this meets that. And, you know, this was very Scream meets Groundhog's Day. And
yeah, because Groundhog Day is not a horror movie.
No.
It's like just a comedy, and he's not being murdered. He's killing himself. And so there's like, and only for like a portion of the movie is that what's going on. So I agree. Scream meets Groundhog Day is a good way to put it.
And I just thought that there was something really refreshing in the whole thing, the script, the usage of cliches, and the sort of the way that they leaned in and then also defied certain cliches, because I already mentioned this a little bit, but I like that she was kind of a jerk in the beginning of the movie. Like,
well, that is also, I mean, that's in Groundhog Day. Like, he's a dick at first, and it's only through having to relive the same day over and over and realizing what his behavior is and isn't getting him that he realizes he needs to be a better person. And so she goes through a similar thing.
But you don't see that a lot from, you know, female leads in horror films.
Correct. Yeah. Well, usually they're very innocent and waifish and they like don't need to be a better person because they are the epitome of innocence and beauty and goodness. And it was nice having her be physically that and emotionally the opposite and having to learn from her mistakes.
And the thing is, it's like she was a jerk, but she also wasn't awful. Like, she had a compass.
Yeah, she wasn't awful like Danielle.
Yeah. And, although, again, you know where you stand with Danielle.
True.
But I just, I mean, it was skipping to the end, but the chocolate milk was so funny because it's
great.
like, what did you think she was going to do?
Of course, yeah. She like walked all the way up to her, lifted it above her head, and she was still surprised that she dumped the chocolate milk on her. And then she cried like she she chopped her hair off, and I was like, chocolate milk washes out.
I don't know. Her hair was incredible.
She did have very good brown hair. Very, very good brown hair. I do want it known that the plot's a little thin, but I think the performances really make up for it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the type of movie where you don't have a choice but to give it your complete all. Like, this is not like a sci-fi channel movie where you can be Ian Ziering and
you can't phone it in.
Giving it 30%, but I don't know. I was really impressed mostly with the performances because she committed. Jessica Roth committed, like, hard. And I think that is what is so impressive about it, is that everybody really took it seriously and that let the humor come through.
That's the thing where I was like watching this movie. It was funny because honestly, there was a couple times even where I was actually scared. There was a couple times that I was kind of like,
yeah.
But those aside, I did that thing where I realized that I just had a huge smile on my face. I was like, I cannot believe I am this invested with all of these characters and this world. Like, it's so hook, line, and sinker. Like, just completely, because you're repeating the day by like the 15-minute mark. It dives right into the movie. Like, and there's something so nice about a movie that does what it promises you it's going to do and does it so well and does it so efficiently, you know?
Yeah, and I think this is one of those things where I might potentially have liked it better had we seen it sooner, which is not to say I didn't enjoy every minute we spent watching it, but I would have preferred if this one had snuck up on me.
Okay.
Because I already knew that I was going to like it as much as I did, so I wasn't surprised by it. I wish in 2017 we had been like, let's go see this movie.
Seen it in the theater with people.
Yeah, exactly.
I still managed to like it as much or more than I thought I was going to. And I think because it's so fun. I think because it's so funny, it's very bright. It's very, I mean, I think a lot of it falls on her shoulders.
Oh, for sure.
But also, you know, Israel Broussard and I don't remember what Danielle's name was, but the 3 or 4 characters around her also do a fair amount of heavy lifting. She's a
legacy too. Rachel Matthews, I feel like she was a legacy too. Now I don't remember who she was related to.
But it's the kind of thing that without them, I mean, I think it was a sharp script, but without them, I don't think it would have been even, you know, half as effective.
Correct.
And
they did a really good job casting this movie for the script that they had.
The other thing about her, Jessica specifically, is that it didn't feel like she was doing bits. Like, it didn't feel like she was trying to be funny. Right. It felt very effortless. And I was just really impressed. And, you know, to kind of complete the thought that I've been trying to get out for the last 5 minutes is I think because it was so light and so funny is why I found it so enjoyable. And I pretty much predicted what the plot was going to be from the beginning. You know?
You were on top of it, and I was the asshole who was like, maybe it's them. Oh my god, maybe it's them. And it's not any of the people that you originally think it is.
Well, full spoilers at this point. It was a very deliberate cupcake that happened several times, and because of the basic, you know, because of the rules of storytelling and the ways they were following them and the way they chose to break them, I knew it couldn't be over when she thought it was over. I knew there had to be a red herring somewhere.
Well, that's why I paused it. We were like 11 minutes from the end, and I was like, something else has got to give. And also, Deliberate Cupcake is going to be the name of my band at some point. That was a good name. Deliberate Cupcake, the name of my new punk pop band.
Well, because there was a point where she figured it out with, like, the serial killer guy or whatever, and I was kind of like, I don't understand. So there's just some random... He didn't have a connection to her, correct?
Correct, because I thought maybe it would have been, maybe he killed her mom or something, but, like, we had no reason to believe her mother was murdered, and so that's what I was like, it's just a random? Are you kidding me? Like, I wanted it to be something, like, I would have preferred it was Israel Broussard. And I'm glad it wasn't, but, like, I was I was a little annoyed that it was going to be this serial killer. And I was like, seriously? And then it wasn't. And so I was
there was a part of me that was also like, but I mean, I was a little bit relieved at that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, not everything has to be a weird, like, dun 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 twist.
For sure. It's a way to subvert the expectation in that sense. But.
And so I like that it did both. It had its cupcake and ate it too.
Oh, damn. Look at you. Nice job.
So, yeah, I was super, super into it. I was into their chemistry.
Yeah, they have a really cute chemistry, the two of them.
I was going back and forth as to whether or not I was going to say anything about this, but I feel like I should. I was reading while we were watching it, and apparently there was like a scandal last year with Israel Broussard because
God damn it.
He's a garbage person.
Oh, God damn it.
He tweeted awful stuff, and it was like in 2016, and...
Is he going to be in the second To All the Boys I've Loved Before?
I don't know. He apologized. It was, in my opinion, it was a fine enough apology, and I completely believe that people can change and grow, especially when you're young. But it kind of tainted the whole experience for me because I was liking him so much in the movie, and then I had to reconcile these like awful, like it's like awful takes. And so I'm willing to give him another chance and or to let people grow. I just wish it had been more time. Like 2016 is too recent in my mind.
Yeah.
But
is he at least young enough? No, he's 25.
Well, he's 25 now, so he would have been like 21 or 22, which is young enough to say stupid shit. But again, I hate that I keep saying this because I feel like it's allowing me to make excuses or something. But it's like, it's one thing to have awful thoughts. It's another thing to be stupid enough to think you can get away with tweeting them. Like,
yeah, I agree.
And sometimes I remember being 20, legitimately. I remember being 20 and thinking that I was being provocative with saying things and certainly not like racist and like awful things like not hate speech. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I remember picking a fight with someone that I went on to, nothing came of it. And thank God it blew over because this person ended up becoming a friend of mine, like a close friend of mine. And in the moment I was picking a fight with her just to like, I don't know, look bad. Like, so I mean, I remember making very questionable like decisions. And so in that regard, I want to be able to move past it, but it's kind of like, yeah. So like I said, I didn't know if I was going to bring it up, but I also feel like if we know, we should acknowledge it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I had plausible deniability until you said something.
You were so bummed. When
I am. I'm super
because I really
bummed.
liked him in All the Boys. I don't know what it is either, because I don't really think I would pick him out of a lineup, but I literally have a note written down where I have it as Carter. I have him as the hottest one, and then I have Dr. Woodbang as the middle one, and then I have Subway as the less hot one.
Yeah.
But once we found out he was gay, I thought he was cute. So
well, sure.
I actually glanced at my notes, and I saw deja vu means somebody's thinking about you while masturbating.
It happens to me at least 5 times a day.
So that aside, very good, very funny. There's a whole montage in the middle to Demi Lovato's underrated. I think Demi Lovato is underrated. I don't know.
Demi Lovato is great.
It's to her song Confident. Mm-hmm. And it climaxes. It's all the different ways she's like going about the day and stuff. And it climaxes with her just strutting completely naked through the courtyard. And it's like, yeah. Oh, I also wrote down a note where I was like, the worst part about this would be not getting any rest.
Oh, because she technically doesn't sleep, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That was a level of science that... It also didn't answer the Groundhog Day-ness of it.
Evidently the sequel does.
Okay.
Because I guess after this one came out, people asked the director, like, a lot, and he was, like, saving the explanation for the sequel.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't exactly know how the science works. Maybe she said it was, like, 16 days, which is both a lot of time and not that much time, so...
If it helps you, it's not ever specifically said in the movie, but evidently Groundhog Day takes place over years.
Oh God, yeah.
He lives the same day for like well over 3 years.
That's too many. That's too much.
Yeah. Well, you don't get a real sense of it, but it's like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, but that's
also. I went looking for Israel Broussard's stuff, and evidently he's like a Sandy Hook truther, so he's full trash. Mm-hmm. I don't care if he apologized. That's real bad.
He's also at 9/11. Was an inside job.
He was like 7 when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, hard pass. I'm sorry. He's not the cutest one. I'll watch a second one, but I'm out. I'm out on him. He can't. You can't come back from that kind of shit.
That was such a weird note to end on. I don't know. I would say cut it, but no, it's
hard to cut. We have to, like, that's the thing is, like, you kind of have to start talking about stuff like that. It's
when you know.
When you know,
see something,
you can't,
say something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't let these people get away with it. So, I mean, it's nice he apologized, but that's unless you changed your fundamental views as a human.
Well, which is what I was saying, where I was like, people can. I just think it takes more than 2 years and, like, a Twitter backlash.
Then, like, I need to know if he's changed as a person before I can support him again. Yeah.
So, well, on that note, we're gonna go watch.
The movie was great.
We're gonna go watch Israel Broussard and Happy Death Day to You. So.
Oh God.
I kind of. Well, yeah. Okay. Bye.
All right.
And we are back. We have since watched Happy Death Day to You, which is the sequel. We're probably not going to talk a lot about it, although I just struck into, like, stone that will go 40 minutes, but...
Yeah, Will wants you to stop saying that.
Okay. And I want him... I couldn't think of anything funny enough. I mean, he can cut it. Part of it, it's like a ritual that gets me into the conversation. It's sort of like...
Okay.
Coffee sometimes in the morning. It's like I have to kind of get the ball rolling in order to get going.
You don't drink coffee.
But it's like that.
No, I get it. I definitely get it.
No, I was saying I was saying that because it was like a full week ago when we watched this, and our schedules have been. I mean, it seems like we're saying that all the time too. That our schedules are crazy, but
this time was for real. We had a death in the family.
Yeah, so stuff came up.
Will and I had to go to New Hampshire.
So we are talking about this a full week after watching it, and
correct.
All I've got to say, well, I'll let you go. What did you think?
I liked it. I think I liked it better than the first one. I think it deepened a lot of the characters, and it deepened a lot of the story, and it also seemingly set it up for a third movie, which I think is great. And I just also. We could have a whole episode about Jessica. Is it Roth?
I've been saying Roth, but
Roth. She's so good at at everything, because she got some really good emotional beats in this one too. But she's also still so hilarious, and she's got this the side eye down pat. I don't know. I'm very impressed with her as an actress in general.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a really good point, because you and I just talked about the third episode of the current season of American Horror Story 1984, and we were kind of complaining about not caring about the characters, and in my mind I was sort of like, yeah, but we've only just gotten to know them and stuff, and I was like, we've gotten more of American Horror Story than we have from 2 of these movies at this point, and I am overwhelmingly more endeared to these characters in the Happy Death Day universe.
Exactly.
And this is one of the movies where I think the first one, well, first of all, I just fucking love it. I've bought both of them already. I'm all in. I've already told like 5 people to watch it.
Oh yeah, I'm all in on the franchise, and I loved the first one. I just liked the second one better, I think.
Well, I think the first one is a better movie, but I think I liked the second one better because it was bigger. There was more world building. We got more of the characters and stuff, and it was just interesting and fun in this way that it's like, it's not a new idea, as we talked about in the first chunk of this episode, that it's Groundhog Day. And then what ends up happening, and I guess spoiler, warning, but I think I understood the plot. Did you understand the plot?
I did vaguely. Once we get into temporal physics and shit, it goes over my head, and I just believe the movie. I just believe what they're saying.
I don't think it holds up to scrutiny. I really don't.
Yeah, but I don't have any scrutiny to give it, is the point, because I have no knowledge of that. That's
fine, but the explanation is that what was the roommate's name?
Ryan.
Okay. Ryan, Carter's roommate from the first movie, that kept coming in talking about the fine vagina, which, I mean, props there. But he was working on some kind of physics experiment where they were trying to prove something about time. Like they were trying to slow down time or something. And basically that's what caught Tree in the loop. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where I said the movie doesn't hold up to scrutiny because it's like we weren't given any explanation as to why killing her killer would undo that time loop. But I don't really care. Nor do we really understand why once she broke the time loop, it moved to Ryan. But again, I don't really care. It was...
Yeah.
This movie, I think, was funnier. And mind you, the first one is very funny.
Uh-huh.
But it took advantage of the characters that were already established. And this couldn't be more on brand for me if it tried. But I think hands down, the highlight was Danielle.
I know. Okay, well, here's the thing. Because I was not as into her in the first one as you were. And it was because I thought she was too bitchy. But she kind of came around in this one. And it was like, this one sort of also dealt with the multiverse theory. So it was like Tree ended up in a different universe, like, or a different dimension of our universe or something. So it was
a different
like the
timeline.
A different timeline. So it was like the same but different. And the Danielle in the different timeline was hilarious. She was like nicer, but she was still awful.
It was like going from like season 1 Cordelia on Buffy to like Cordelia on Angel.
Sure. Yeah.
Because she was still herself and she was still kind of a piece because remember she was cheating on Carter.
Yeah.
But it's like you could see her trying to be a good person in a way that was funny and interesting.
And then when she's like with them at the end and she does the like, she like does the bit for them with the dean where she pretends to be a blind French woman.
I was going to say, because I thought you were going to say a blind woman. And I was like, there's no reason why she had to be French.
No, it was incredible accent work. It was incredible prop work. And it was even more incredible space work. She just was like, she was hitting all of the like improv like notes. It was so good. And she just was like fully, like with all her strength, hitting him with her cane.
There was a scene in the gag reel, because there's a gag reel, it's too short, but it's pretty good, where the dean is like kind of staring at her and he's like, wait a minute. And he kind of like hovers in front of her face and then he goes to do the Three Stooges thing to like poke her eyes out and she holds her hand up and he's like, you're not blind. And like, it went so slapsticky in such a way. And that's one of my favorite things. And that's what this movie, the second movie and the franchise in general does, is it really plays with genre in a way that's fun. And I love the blending and the merging and all of that. And it was kind of cool that in this alternate universe, I don't remember her name, but Tree's roommate wasn't the villain in this alternate universe. And it was such this weird, because you mentioned the emotional beats and you Jessica? Are right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Lori.
Huh?
Lori.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's not important. But imagine going into an alternate universe where your friends and family are still recognizably them, but they're different in ways that benefits you.
Oh, absolutely.
That is galaxy brain. And so it's like she's torn, and the crux of this movie is whether or not she wants to stay in this alternate universe, because her mother is alive in this alternate universe, but she's not with Carter. And for me, I was like, stay there, because Carter and Danielle are going to break up anyways.
Well, sure, but it's like they haven't built the relationship that they already have in her universe. And I really, I agree with you. Stay, and she was going to, but who was it that told her? Was it Ryan? Someone told her, like, he's not yours here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not the same. And her mother, the scenes that she had with her mother were so good. And I'm sure that part of it is because my mother is also dead. But I was crying when she was having that conversation with her mom at the restaurant, where she was like, you just have to sometimes take a leap of faith, kind of. It was so well written in a way that this cheapo horror movie that came out in February didn't need to be.
And it was just fun. Like, it just like, and again, I will say, if I'm being critical, I glanced at some of the review pull quotes, and one of them was like really fun, if not occasionally boring. And it did get a little redundant because we're still repeating days and stuff. And
Right.
I think for the most part, the movie found ways to spice it up, and I am eternally grateful that they never once showed us her trying to convince everybody to get on board with the premise.
Right.
Because it's inconceivable. It's like that would never.
Of course it is, yeah.
And that's what I started to say, where I was like, again, the movie doesn't hold up scrutiny. She doesn't have the relationship with Carter in her timeline either, because it's built off of a time glitch. But
that's true.
She doesn't have what we saw, because we got to witness there.
Right, okay, that's fair.
But still, even in spite of all of that, I love it, and I want, more times 3. And just her montage of death, it was so funny. I think my favorite is the skydiving one.
Yeah.
The wood chipper was way too much. It was way...
I thought it was hilarious just how she dove right into it.
She vaulted into a wood chipper.
Completely into it. So, I mean, yeah, it was too much because it's, like, horrible and gross, but it was just, like...
I mean, she still feels that.
The irreverence that she goes into it with was, like, really good. I am still curious. They were still making noise about all of her deaths physically hurting her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still curious about that.
Like having an effect on her.
Yeah.
Because in both movies, they established it and then dropped it.
Yeah, so if it's meant to be a trilogy, maybe that's going to come out in the third one, but, like, I need to know why that keeps being a thing if it's not going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about a third one. I mean, is it announced or is it just speculated?
I think it's just speculated, but it was in the trivia. I think the director, like, wanted it to be, like, after they were making the first one, he was, like, already talking about the third one.
Well, no.
Sorry, after they started the second one, he was already talking about a third one.
Okay, maybe that, because in the interview I saw with him, he came up with the idea for the second one after the first one was done.
Yeah, so Christopher Landon announced plans for a third film as soon as production wrapped on the second one.
Okay.
So he's intended for there to be one.
It was really great. It ran the gamut, and I wish I had something more to say about Jessica Rothe other than she was great. I will say that she wore many hats in this movie, and she is also able to pull off obnoxious in a way that wasn't obnoxious. It's like she could play capricious. You know what I mean? She could play these different tones in a way that's tricky sometimes.
Yeah, I think she has, like, an innate likability. Like, you want to sympathize with her. Mm-hmm. And so even when she's being obnoxious, you're still like, I mean, she's not wrong. You know? She
just has this quality where it's like she's kind of like a combination of like Blake Lively and Emma Stone and Brittany Murphy. And then it's like there was a handful of people where it's like at any given moment, I was like, oh man, there she looks like in one of the scenes, I was like, she looks just completely like Gage Golightly. And I was all about it. And I thought everybody was great. And it was just fun. It was just fun.
And that's honestly, that's all I'm looking for in a movie like this.
Best you could hope for. That's all
I'm looking for, is I just want to, like, sit down in this movie for, like, 87 minutes and have a good time. Mm-hmm. And they deliver. They have both delivered. I'm sure a third one will, too.
All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I mean, I recommend them if you're looking for something semi-spooky to watch for, you know, like horror adjacent, I guess, to watch for October.
And especially, I think it's great for if anyone's even remotely like squeamish, I think you'll be fine. I think that it's not very, in spite of the wood chipper comment we made, it's not very graphic. It's not very bloody. They are PG-13. And frankly, I think the second one is a piece of cake. I think the first one is scarier than the first one. Because
yes.
The first one is scarier than the second one.
Scarier than the second one.
Yes. Because, like, the worst that happens to the second one is it's mostly people just sort of, like, slowly walking down hallways and then someone else is, like, creeping around a corner, like, but fucking, I just remembered when she accidentally ran off the roof.
Oh my god, amazing. I forgot about that, too. Yeah, that was amazing.
She didn't mean to, but she just ran right off the roof.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
All right. Well, as always, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingTheShow. We're also on Facebook and Tumblr, So I'm Watching the Show. Was there anything to put on the playlist?
There was, but I don't remember. I think we mentioned it in the first chunk.
Well, stay tuned to Will's playlist, So I'm Watching the Show, the music, for whichever song ends up being on there. And then, as always, just please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or YouTube or Spotify or wherever you listen. And that's it for us. Bye.
Bye.